Not a matter of if, but when crisis will rock your world. I'm Roshini Rajkumar, crisis strategist, licensed attorney, and host of The Crisis Files. In each case file, we explore crisis prevention. When it comes to your career, there are key hot zones. Richard Dodson is an executive career coach and LinkedIn strategist. He leads the LinkedIn practice at Navigate Forward, an executive transition firm. His clients are all over the United States. Ever heard, I never use LinkedIn. I'm not looking for a job. Or, I am on LinkedIn, but I never post. Richard is here for the case file I call LinkedIn-able. Richard, I'm sure you've heard those lines, plus so many more when it comes to LinkedIn myths.
It's a common misconception that LinkedIn is for a job search, and it's a big mistake as well, I think, because careers are really built on, your reputation is built out on LinkedIn, not just for a job search, but for all of your aspirations. So I think that LinkedIn is more like your career infrastructure. It's a platform on which you kind of cultivate your reputation, not just for job search, but for anything that you're trying to accomplish in your career.
I love that, the career infrastructure. So let's give people a little bit of help, because maybe they might even want to be pulling up their LinkedIn profiles while they're listening to us today. So when you go to that page, let's say someone's looking at their profile right now, they want to improve it. What should they be seeing on there for themselves to then put themselves out in a really good light to the world?
The first thing they need to do is really think about what they want to stand for and who needs to know that, right? So most profiles are often, if they're not been worked on for a while, they're kind of dated or they're kind of dull or lackluster. And if somebody sees that, they just kind of move on. So opportunities are always kind of coming by and they're just slipping by instead of being taken advantage of. So the first is that there's some kind of clarity and life and panache with a profile.
So a really good headshot. I mean, I've seen some where there's no headshot. You know, I've gotten invitations on LinkedIn, and one of my rules, first of all, I mean, do I want to accept it no matter what? But when there's no picture of the person who's trying to invite me on LinkedIn, my rule is I won't accept that invite.
Yeah, that's true. 20 times more likely to be visited if your photo is visible. And so in that photo needs to be you at your best. Eye contact, smile, inviting. Hey, welcome. Glad you're here. Excited to see you, right? So that photo, you are the face of your brand. So if your face isn't really showing, or you're not at all, or it's not you at your best, it's just not going to do you much good.
That's a really good thing to keep in mind. So you've called LinkedIn the career infrastructure. You also call it your career insurance. What do you mean by that, Richard?
Well, it's the idea of building your well before you're thirsty. If you're in crisis, you lose your job or you're panicking because, you know, the world's a little risky now. You don't know what's going to happen.
And it really, at all times in history, you could lose a job for any and all reasons, and often not a reason you want.
Yeah, and not when you expect it. And so if you're jumping in there a little panicked and worried and people are starting to look at your profile and it's not targeted and it's not fresh and current, then it's not doing you any good. So getting ahead of the game is really important. So it's time now to update the profile, get that headline really sharp and focused so when people look at it, they get a sense of who you are, and get some personality in there. A profile can be really dull, especially today. People are using AI in, I'd say, not the correct way to create what is good content, but not interesting content and not personal. So people are looking to see authentic leaders. They want to see transparency. They want to get a sense of who somebody is. And LinkedIn is your opportunity to shape the narrative about who you are. And so it's sad not to have that up and ready and running. So your reputation is in motion all the time. And LinkedIn is a place where that should be represented.
Let's talk about your audience, because I know who I want to attract to my page, or not even get them to the page, but once they're there, dig in, look into what I can bring for them, whether they might want to come on the Crisis Files, or they might want to hire me for crisis strategy or professional speaking. Or in my case also, I am trying to attract companies that might want to invite me to be a paid board member. So how much does it matter kind of what I want and then the type of people, that audience, in constructing that profile?
It's so important to actually know who your audience is, because you can't write anything really good if you don't know who you're talking to. And this is the misconception about LinkedIn being just about job search. You don't use it for job search, right? There's a lot of audiences that really you're thinking about when you're positioning yourself. One of the things I'm seeing a lot, I'm getting a slew of clients now for executives who are starting new jobs. And they're realizing that, well, I don't need to get a new job. I need to communicate with this new audience. There's going to be thousands of people who are looking at me to say, who is this leader? Why did they hire her? So the internal audience, you're communicating with them about what kind of leader you're going to be. Or you're looking to recruit people and hire people. People are going to look, hey, does this person look trustworthy? Do they look like the kind of person I'd want to work for? Or customers, of course, or vendors, or consultants, or people who want to be tapped by the media. You want to be an authority? You want to kind of provide context to stories or quotes? It's a different audience, and you need to be sharing the parts of you and the true you that is aligned with their needs. And that's the big issue there, is knowing who your audience is, what they care about, and be sharing who you are and what you bring to that particular audience.
So it's really helpful to understand the audiences you want to interact with and then lay out what you're putting out there for content, whether it's that wallpaper behind your headshot, the bio bullets underneath your headshot, the headlines, the skills, and you're the expert in this. We'll get more into some of those technical details, but really with terms and phrases and visuals that will attract the audiences we want.
Yeah,
so
exactly.
that we individually want.
Jumping in on your idea of looking for board work, where people have a very strong profile for an operational role. Looks like they're really going to take that company and grow it. But the board isn't looking for the operational strength. It's more brains, less brawn. So the keywords they pick and the things they want to represent, they want to be talking about, fiduciary responsibility and business transformation, things that the board is looking for, not the operational strength. And so that's about repositioning to that particular audience.
Right. And one of the things I say to my executive clients, because I'm a huge proponent in each of them having a strong LinkedIn, is that it is a recruiting tool. So I love that you mentioned that. It only affirms what I'm telling my clients. But the other piece of it is when they write out that narrative about section, I always say add a couple lines of personal at the end. And some people are a little reluctant on LinkedIn, although lately people are getting very confessional on LinkedIn. But in that about section to talk too much about their family or too much about personal. And I said, look, you don't have to give everything away and jeopardize the safety of your kids or anything like that. But what about saying, my wife and I live in the Cincinnati area and are proud parents of our teenage twins, something like that. Or as a family, we enjoy hiking, biking, and lake canoeing, something so that if someone is looking at it and thinking, could this person be my boss? They see a couple lines of personal, they see a reference to a family or hobbies, and they think, oh, good, this person would be a good boss because they themselves have a life outside of work.
Yeah, absolutely. And those are the things that people actually connect on and talk about and want to talk about. So if they don't find any of that, it's just jargon and keywords and it looks like a job posting or nothing to really grab onto. It doesn't really start building that relationship. So sharing, again, not overly personal, but things about you as a human being, especially in leadership. I mean, we're seeing research show that this emerging generations care about people being on social media. They want that accessibility, that transparency, and that authenticity. And so with AI writing and, so much generic content out there, that if you can share some unique things about yourself, that's where people are going to connect with you. And people in the networking process, this is where they go. They go to LinkedIn to say, I'm going to meet with this person tomorrow. Who are they? And they're looking for a human connection, not a come in and say, hey, let's talk about business transformation. The first thing they're going to ask about is either your family or your dog or that funny post you made about X, Y, or Z that's not necessarily personal.
All right. So now let's assume that our listener has Their LinkedIn profile is looking great. It's Richard approved. Maybe they've even read your book, Power Your Career, The Art of Tactful Self-Promotion. And they've filled it out and updated their LinkedIn profile based on that. Let's talk about posting, your tips for posting, and what are some of the common mistakes that you see in posts. What kind of cadence do you want to see, and what kind of posts do you want to see?
It's kind of a myth, too, that posting is the answer or the primary tool for engaging with your audience. You do want to be posting regularly. It builds your authority, but think about posting as conversations. What you want to be doing with a post is starting a conversation, not here's all of my smart wisdom that I'm going to share with the minions. Like that doesn't do any good. What you want to be doing is saying, hey, here's something I'm struggling with, or here's something that I'm working on that I'm excited about and I'd like your opinion about. Because the idea of a post doesn't actually go anywhere if people don't engage with it. And if it's not like starting a conversation that people want to be a part of, that's the most important thing. And I'd say the primary mistake people make is they just don't do it, right? So they're just quiet. There's no signs of life on their post. But I lean people toward commenting first, because commenting is like a mini post. You're bringing some value. You're adding something to a conversation that's already going. It's also the place you can find where people are already engaged, where you're finding the audience you want to be a part of are already talking. So it's much more targeted. You show up and you start to chat with people, and that's where things really come alive. When you post something, we don't really know whose feed it goes in, and it doesn't come alive until somebody likes it, comments, or shares. And then it becomes something that LinkedIn cares about and will start to share.
I love that you say that, because I even just naturally get excited when I see a post that I've posted has gotten some comments, or someone's reposted it, or the number of likes seems to increase because it's resonating. And I really like that you call a comment a mini post. That's a really great way of saying this. And again, it backs up what I say to my clients. If you have nothing to post today, check what people are saying that you're connected with. Can you at least do some commenting on their posts? That's great. And it starts to kind of build what you're doing.
And it builds your authority. So the idea of being an author is what authority comes from. And so you need to be authoring something, which means putting some kind of value out there, some kind of content. And so even a little post is you're authoring something. So instead of just saying, hey, congratulations, or, nice post, thanks, bring your point of view, add something, ask a question, join in. And I love when people comment on other people's comments. That's joining the conversation. So leaving one main comment and then looking, what else is going on here? And jumping in, people start to see you. Oh, look there she is again. And who is she? Click, they jump over to your profile. So, just being more a part of the conversation really works.
I don't want to get too into the weeds, but you make me think of something. When people start commenting on comments and then a little fight brews, the crisis strategist in me, I get excited because it gives me ideas for future episodes, but I also don't know that that's the forum to completely go negative. I'd rather you be constructive, even if you're going to disagree with someone.
Yeah, you will get visibility that way. It just may not be the right kind. So the recommendation I make is to be relentlessly helpful when you're engaging with your community.
I love that
network.
line. That's so great.
Yeah, and it's two parts of it. You want to be relentless, which means pretty much every day, but helpful is the key. That's what builds a brand. When you're going out and you're saying, how can I be of use in the world? And so thinking of it not as I'm going to go out and promote myself today, because nobody really wants to do that. You feel like, ew, why do I want to do that? But if you think, I'm going to go out and see if I can have a little more impact, make a difference, be of service. So I think the service mindset serves people well. It builds a kind of a brand where what you're seen as is somebody who's always showing up and being of use and trying to help out. That's a great brand. And if that's authentic, then it really, pays off in the long run. And you really do start to have a greater impact and not just see LinkedIn as a tool to sell yourself, but a tool and a way make your bigger impact in the world.
You have called LinkedIn an opportunity engine. Let's dig into that, because I am guessing everyone would like more opportunities in all of the spaces they want to be.
Yeah, people are always coming by your profile. And if it is lackluster or unfocused or, again, just sort of nothing's happening, people start to make assumptions that you're either out of touch or that you just don't care or that you don't really have much to offer. And the opportunities will come if you start to show up. But they're not going to find you, those opportunities, if you're not out there, kind of on the street corner chatting with people. That's how recruiters find you. That's how journalists find you. And so the opportunities, they're right there. Somebody's about to click on your profile, and you have an opportunity to set yourself up to be a magnet for those kinds of opportunities that you want.
You say that LinkedIn is about positioning, presence, and optimization. So we're really future-proofing. And I love your future-proof term because with my clients, I future cast as we plan where they want to be at the end of the year, in 3 years and 5 years, or different areas of their organizations. How are we going to set things in motion for the leaders that will come after them? So what are some tips you can give us for future-proofing?
One of them I've mentioned, which is think about who your audience is and what you want to stand for, and then build that into your positioning. In terms of optimization, that's a lot about the keywords that you pick. And the idea there is you're looking for a product market fit, right? So you're the product, and there's a market out there that's looking for talent like you. And so you need the keywords in your profile to align with the keywords that recruiters or board members or journalists are typing in to find you. And so that's where that sort of alignment needs to be. So the challenge is figuring out, well, what are the current keywords? You don't want personnel management or Fortran. You need to have what's really current in your profile. And it needs to be, yes, in the skills section. So LinkedIn's really leaning into this skills-based hiring. They've upped the number of skills you can put in your profile to 100. You should use most of them. And so how do you find those? Old days, what did we do? We'd read through job postings and you'd highlight, what is job descriptions, and you actually use a highlighter and pull those over. But now AI is a fantastic tool for identifying that alignment between which skills you want in your profile that are really going to hit the keywords that recruiters and others are using.
And I know you use AI for your own LinkedIn to help your clients, whether they're through Navigate Forward or your own private clients, private corporate clients. And you have helped me. I mean, it was fascinating to be on a Zoom meeting with you recently where you had already done some work on my LinkedIn. So you were very familiar both with me and my profile because you had frankly done a lot of it. But the new AI tool you showed me where we plugged in all of these different terms that could possibly be how to find me. And then it came up with that list of like 15 really top ranking keyword search terms.
Well, I have a post I'm happy to share with you that you could share with people that
Great.
Has a really terrific prompt for identifying those kind of high value, high volume keywords that are aligned with your goals. I'll take your example for like a board search, or you're looking for a board member. The key idea, and this isn't the great prompt, it's the sort of simple version of the prompt, is you want to tell AI who they are. So you're a recruiter for boards. I'm looking for paid board roles in this space. This is my background. And you ask it, what are the keywords that recruiters are actively using to find talent like me?
So you're kind of putting yourself into the brain of that audience, and in this case, a board recruiter.
And it will come back with a wonderful list of the keywords that recruiters are looking. Now, you don't want to just plug all those in if they're not true, but you do want to find this is a true keyword for me and it's what they're looking for. And then you need to plug that in to your skills section. But also, if it's a really high value keyword, you want to tease those keywords through different sections of your profile. So you want to get it in your headline, in your about section, in the description of your jobs or job titles.
And even stream them into some of your posts.
And then into your posts, because those keywords is the avatar for the algorithm. So we see an avatar visually. The algorithm is a different kind of animal, and it looks at your profile, and the skills mix is the avatar that it sees. So you have a chance to shape that avatar. So when somebody's using a certain amount of keywords, it looks and analyzes your profile and you start to buoy up the list. And it's not about how many times a keyword appears in your About section. Much more important that those important keywords show up in multiple sections. So when it's in a headline and a job title and a skills section, each time it appears in a new section, LinkedIn goes, that must be real. That must be more credible. It gets more power and more strength and helps drive you up the list into the searches that you want.
Wow, so much to soak in. This has been a masterclass on LinkedIn. Richard, thank you for being relentlessly helpful today and for busting myths so that we can be more empowered. Want to connect directly with Richard? Of course, go to LinkedIn and look for Richard Dodson. And you have given me ideas today, Richard, for when I post this episode on my Roshini Rajkumar LinkedIn page, that I'm going to post it thinking as if I'm starting a conversation with whomever reads it, and also get them excited to listen to the episode, but maybe comment on it and give us their feedback right there.
I'll come right in and jump into that conversation, Roshini.
I am so excited. Today's case file is powered by Huntington. Sometimes reaching your goals takes more than money. It takes know-how. That's why money's just the start of what Huntington can do. Get more than money from your bank. See how at huntington.com/getmore. Rate, review, and subscribe to The Crisis Files on your platform of choice. Follow us on YouTube and Instagram at The Crisis Files. Go to thecrisisfiles.com to check out all 3 seasons of our library of case files. I'm Roshini Rajkumar. Join me next time on The Crisis Files.